All
Have
right.
to.
So Heisman futures, I do want to talk to you about that too, because it looks like now Hendon Hooker is kind of dropped a little bit. He's now plus 250. CJ Stroud, like Georgia, minus 125 favorite. I can't get behind the CJ Stroud bandwagon, man. Like I just I don't know. There's something about running up the score and trying to get touchdowns in games and performances that don't really matter to me that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like Hendon Hooker had moments, right? He was horrible against Georgia. Spoiler alert, a lot of people, Greg, have been horrible against Georgia. It happens. They're good.
This is true. So I'm with you on Stroud. I mean, look, I'm a Big Ten guy. I don't like Ohio State. I'm never going to come on here and root for an Ohio State Buckeye quarterback to run away with the biggest trophy in all of sports. The problem is, you're right. Like his numbers are good. He passes the eye test. He's clearly flashy. But then, I mean, they were in a dogfight with Northwestern, and I know there were like hurricane level wins. But like, are you really telling me that's the best player in the country, and he's struggling to just hit a 10-yard out in Evanston last week? So I think like football people that actually are involved in the Heisman, I think feel the same. They might not want to say it out loud, but I think they're sort of looking for an opportunity to not give CJ Stroud this award. And just because of the results from everybody else this season, like you can't even consider Bryce Young for this award. And I think Bryce Young's played better this season than he did last year when he won this award. Hendon Hooker, same thing. He was going to run away with this award as long as Tennessee kept winning. At this point, it's really hard to see that happening unless, they run the table from here and he just goes for 5 touchdowns every game, which is very possible. What this is shaping up to me, though, is the winner of Michigan, Ohio State could very well have the Heisman on their team. And that makes Blake Corum a little valuable to me. And that sounds weird to say out loud, but let's not forget Michigan beat Ohio State last year. And Ohio State does not look the part of a team that's going to come in and be 3 touchdown favorites on Michigan like we've seen so many times in the last decade. I don't know that I trust Michigan when they have to go up against the beasts in the SEC, but I think there's something to the fact that they're going to enter that game with a little more confidence than they have in the past. And, 3 weeks from now, if Michigan does knock off Ohio State and they lock a spot up in the playoff, one of the only undefeated teams left in the country at that point, Blake Corum, 6-1 right now, might look a little tasty looking back on it.
Yeah, I just don't think there's any value on that number anymore on a running back. Like that's my only issue, right? If we were talking about JJ McCarthy and he was having the kind of season that puts you in that conversation, then maybe. I have a hard time seeing investing any money at 6-1 odds on a running back winning the award. It just feels like it's a quarterback award, right? When was the last time a running back won it?
Yeah, but doesn't it feel wrong with the quarterbacks this year though too? Like Hooker's the only one.
It does,
Hooker's
but those
the only one.
It does, but those are the guys that if you would have told me this back when Blake was like 20-1, 3 weeks ago when he was kind of ripping off those 5 touchdown games, then yes, I could get behind it. I just think 6-1 is probably too short for my liking. I do want to ask you, Stetson Bennett, 10-1 odds. Bo Nix, he's still in the mix. Max Duggan, plus 4,000, 40-1 odds. Look, if TCU can find a way to weasel their way into the playoff, right, and they can find a way to maybe even get to the national championship game, Max Duggan right now, 24 touchdowns, just 2 interceptions. He's doing a little damage on the ground. Like the kid is putting up some pretty big numbers for a team that is still undefeated, like 40-1 odds. I personally like Max Duggan as high. If you're going to make a futures bet on TCU, I think you bet Max Duggan for Heisman over TCU to win it, because I think that there's a chance that he could still get the award if TCU doesn't win the national title, where it's not going to work the other way around.
So here's what I think that I'll do for you today, Rob. I'm going to go set up the Field of 68 charitable fund. And instead of blowing that money on Max Duggan to win a Heisman that he will never win, you're going to put that money straight towards the Field of 68 charitable fund, and we'll do some good for the world.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you just put me in my place. Nothing on Bo Nix or Stetson Bennett, though?
I don't think so. Look, I'm with you on let's try to find the long shots, but you and I both know we needed to do that 4 weeks ago at this point. There's 5 guys who could win this award, and they're the 5 favorites at this point. Bo Nix, like a great story. He's played much better than people realize. And I actually think you want to talk about maybe futures odds. One we didn't mention is Oregon. I don't know what they are just to make the playoff at this point, but if they can hold serve the rest of the season and their only loss is Georgia, I'd have a really hard time seeing them not get into the playoff. Stetson Bennett, like, God bless him. He's fantastic. I'm not sure, other than Bryce Young, there's a quarterback in the country I'd rather have run my football team, but people would have problems if Stetson Bennett was given that award for a variety of reasons. And
let me make a counter argument to that. Stetson Bennett, prior to the Tennessee game, his number got leaked on Tennessee message boards. After he runs the first touchdown and he looks straight into the student section, looks straight into the camera, and does the call me sign. And to me, that's worth like at least 10 touchdowns on the season, because there's so much more swag in that than anything we've seen Bryce Young or CJ Stroud do this season. And so that's a Heisman moment, right? We talk about moments. Come on. It doesn't get better than that, Greg.
Listen,
I know you love a little bit of shit talking, a little bit of trolling.
You're not wrong. You're talking to the guy who called him Stet Holmgren week 1 this season. I love Stetson Bennett. That name did not stick, so I'm still pushing.
You know what? Hold on. So you called him Stet Holmgren, and then you also called him Stetson Bennett, BEEN space IT. So you love this guy.
Stetson's been it. We know this. Okay. We've looked back at what he's done in his career. He's cold. He's awesome, but there's too much there. Like, if Stetson was going to have a real shot at the Heisman, he would have been in contention all season long for that award. And I think Georgia kind of going through that, the quiet period where they had 3 straight weeks where they were not covering, they were in dogfights against bad football teams, really, really damaged his stock. Look, I really do think this is Stroud's award to lose at this point. And if Michigan beats him, Blake Corum might be the best value left.
Yeah, to your point, though, about Tennessee, I think Hendon Hooker, the numbers come down a little bit for him. And if they can still find a way to make a run, like he's put up the biggest numbers and been one of the stars of the season. So I think there's